Hey, what's up? It's Damien here with the vlog Game of Thrones, Late to the Party. I'm here in my lovely studio. Nah, I'm just playing. I ain't in the studio. I'm in my dining room. Just kind of chatting about Game of Thrones. If you are like me, who came to Game of Thrones late to the party, maybe you've been hearing a whole lot about it. I just finished season 1. So I'm going to give you the recap that I probably needed before I jumped into this Game of Thrones craziness. So I'm just kind of quickly recap what it's about and what I got from season 1. How would I describe Game of Thrones? Game of Thrones is like if Real Housewives of Atlanta, Star Wars, and Harry Potter had a menage a trois, and this is the crazy baby that kind of came out of that crazy one night stand. Game of Thrones is a set maybe 300 years ago, and it's about this fictional land and all these different families kind of fighting over supremacy. That's the gist of it. But I'm gonna just give you some central themes that kind of happened in season 1, and just that I took from season 1. Theme 1: sex. A whole lot of it. Yeah. Nobody told me that Game of Thrones was a porno. Yeah. I saw a whole bunch of breasts and penetration going on. I'm not sure what I was watching at some point. Not that it's a bad thing, but it's a lot. Every form and every way, and everybody's getting it in. If you're a character on Game of Thrones and you don't get to have sex, that's pretty much an indictment of how ugly you are. Because everybody gets it in on Game of Thrones. It doesn't matter, tall, short, the dwarves, the slaves, everybody goes hard, and that's just the way it is. So that's theme number 1 that you need to take from Game of Thrones: sex. Theme number 2 that I think is clear in is betrayal. Nobody in Game of Thrones is faithful to nobody. Everybody betrays everybody, and it goes down from mama to daughter to brother to sister to spouses. It doesn't matter. Everybody is in the game, and it reminds you of being on a HBCU campus that everybody in the game is safer not to play. If you're gonna play the game, you need to play to win because they out here coming for you. Betrayal. It's just running through this whole thing, this theme of betrayal on every level. It's kind of crazy, this whole betrayal that walks through the Game of Thrones. Third theme: death. I don't know who wrote the Game of Thrones. I don't know who's directing it. I don't know who's on the HBO studios that's making this thing happen. But Game of Thrones don't care nothing about you liking a character. Game of Thrones will kill your character. Game of Thrones will cut your throat. It'll kill animals, pigs, llamas, horses. It don't care. Game of Thrones will cut your head off in the middle of you watching. It'll cut your Netflix account off. The Game of Thrones don't care. Death, 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 death. All running through it. Everybody die. That's just how it go. And crazy enough, in Game of Thrones, some of them fools that die come back. Yeah, bro. They be trying to come back. Zombies and foolishness. It's like, yeah. Game of Thrones, death. So that's theme number 3. So sex, betrayal, death. And then the 4th category or theme of Game of Thrones, and I don't have any other way to characterize this other than some crazy shit. Yeah. Crazy shit goes on in the Game of Thrones. Incest, dwarves, witches, breastfeeding of grown kids, just crazy stuff. Dragons. I don't know what be going on Game of Thrones. But if you like all of that, if you're into just some crazy stuff going on, Game of Thrones is the thing for you. So that's what sucked me in. You max a bunch of crazy shit and a bunch of sex, a bunch of death and betrayal. Hey, I'm here for that. So that's what I think about Game of Thrones. But just kind of summarize. When I finished Game of Thrones season 1, the thing that I said that made me say, like, what in the world is happening, is that season one is kind of setting up the characters. So as you're watching, just kind of pay attention to who the families are and where they are and kind of how they're getting situated. Because ultimately, these are family wars. It's like War of the Roses on steroids, and they're just kind of getting in position for what I feel like is coming next. This is not a deep interaction. I just kind of want to give you some thoughts about what I thought about Game of Thrones season one, Late to the Party.